Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Brock Beard from NASCAR.info, and I apologize, my camera's a little crooked. Let me try to straighten that out a little bit. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we're at the moment. It looks like that tropical storm Bertha is bearing down on Charlotte pretty good. So we may either have the night called early, or we're going to be waiting quite a bit before the race tonight. I was thinking originally about doing a live stream after that race is over with, but I think the time frame is going to be a little too tight for that. So we're going to go ahead and just jump into this here in a bit. We'll do some trivia as well, but obviously before we do that, we got a whole lot to cover. Since last Sunday. The last time we did the live stream was back during the action there at Charlotte during the rain delay. That turned out to be a rather eventful finish, certainly for one Chase Elliott and for one Jimmy Johnson, and, well, quite frankly, for one Rick Hendrick, as things just kind of came apart at the seams for all four of the teams at the very end of the race there. Big thanks to everybody who checked out my last article on Jimmy Johnson that night. I think that's probably one of the highest number of clicks that I've had on one of my articles lately since the news broke so late. I was already pretty much getting a Clint Boyer article all ready to go, and then the news broke about 11 o'clock my time, so I was able to kind of get that article finished and get that punched out. I don't know how many other articles were posted about Jimmy's disqualification at the time, but it looks like we were able to get jump on a few people there. The article has, at the moment, 2,184 hits on the Jimmy Johnson article. So big thanks again for everybody for spreading the link or sharing it or checking it out there. The average I usually have on my articles is usually more between about 150 to 300. So that is a significant uptick in traffic. And hopefully other people were able to be exposed to what we do over on the website. But of course, an unfortunate turn of events for Jimmy Johnson, who had put on a great performance out there in that military-themed number 48 paint scheme. Had a good runner-up finish there for Brad Keselowski. Again, it was, I thought, after mentioning Keselowski's run with Miller Lite earlier that evening there, and how cool it would be for him to actually win in what was potentially Miller's last sponsorship with Penske, if not NASCAR in general. It would be great if, one positive thing, if that victory turned out to be their last one. Certainly wouldn't want to see that sponsorship leave the sport. But if it does end up turning out that way, it's certainly good that they were able to celebrate it in victory lane. So congratulations to Keselowski on that one. But yeah, an unfortunate deal for Jimmy Johnson, unfortunate deal for Alex Bowman, who had the most dominant car, and then that last restart got shuffled out of line. Unfortunate for William Byron, whose flat tire caused that last caution, and that controversial call by the number 9 crew with Alan Gustafson to send Elliott down pit road. Very surprised that they did that, but it's easy for me to judge that from the couch compared to everybody else. So it's it's an unusual set of circumstances there, but it ended up being an interesting last place battle. I'll tell you what, between Denny Hamlin's tungsten weights falling out of the 11 car to Clint Boyer's very hard accident there with the control arm issue on the tire, and then ultimately the problems for Jimmy Johnson well after the conclusion of the race. It ended up being kind of an all-star bottom 5 there in general, and made for some interesting stories from that. Big thanks again. I see some comments about the Sears Point video. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. That was definitely a fun one to do here as well. And I haven't forgotten. I gotta release the trailer for my next video here today. I'll probably do that pretty soon, and you'll have that to be able to check out. Those are my Patreon. We'll already be able to see that one. But the next video is already well in the pipeline. I'm kind of working on polishing up kind of the branding in the videos as well. Kind of make sure that they fit in among the pantheon of other NASCAR on YouTube content out there. I think we're able to establish a brand from there. But then in the Cup Series, let me just kind of get the lineups pulled up here for that. Mentioning again Jimmy Johnson's last place finish by disqualification, uprooting Clint Boyer from the last spot. Looking here, Keselowski with the win. Good job by Christopher Bell getting in the top 10 for the first time in his career, getting in the 9th spot ultimately. Tyler Reddick as well. I think, again, I've said this a couple times on these shows. I think he really is the real deal over Richard Childress Racing and is continuing to do the very best he can to get that number 8 back in contention. If we get this thing going tonight, probably see him be a factor in that again. You never know. More strange things have happened than that. Let's see. Looking further back at the other issues there. I know a lot of people aren't happy about the aero package and the way that race went out during that event. I think, quite honestly, I've seen much more boring 600s than that. Certainly not ones where you have late race injury about somebody losing the lead at the very end of the race. I think the one where Truex dominated a couple of years ago, or even the one he did last year, were much less interesting than this one. Although the aero package, I can't necessarily endorse that either, because as we talked about with Sears Point and Watkins Glen, it doesn't really fit at some of these other tracks as well. So I'm certainly not entirely positively endorsing the aero package that we have here at the moment, but something that to look ahead on that. This kind of brings us into Monday's race over in the Xfinity Series, and an interesting show there, in spite of the fact that Kyle Busch ended up pulling off the victory. At least he was able to, was forced to do so on the final lap by pulling around Austin Cindric. Everybody's saying poor Daniel Hemrick for getting yet another second place finish. I think he's really kind of coming to his own in the Xfinity Series here, and he'll break through at some point. He seems like he's knocking on the door constantly there. I do think it worked out for the best to put Reddick in the 8 in the Cup Series, and maybe give Hemrick a little bit more time to kind of grow his career a bit in the Xfinity Series, even though he's basically sharing that 8 car with a number of other teams. But I thought that was a great run for him, and recovering from some struggles earlier in that race. Brett Moffitt getting a top 10 for the Chris Auer team. Great job by them. Brandon Brown getting a top 10, bouncing back from the incident that he had with Bassett back at Phoenix before the season was suspended. Good to see him get a good run out there. Other covers and goers along the way. Obviously, heart breaks for Tommy Joe Martins for getting in that accident at the end of the race there, dropping him from just outside the top 10 down to the 24th position. I know the tweet that I posted about that got a whole lot of traffic, and and I think at the same time, though, I think that I wasn't exactly being understood very clearly about what exactly I was talking about. I think there were a lot of people that seemed to understand it, but then there were others that were saying, in my tweet, I basically said, look, the broadcast always kind of drops the ball where they don't mention it in the moment. They're not invested enough in the action. It's more like, oh, okay, here's something that's going to get us into overtime. We're going to have an overtime finish. We're just kind of passively describing how dangerous the track is, or how treacherous a certain corner of the track is. But in that moment, talk about Tommy Joe Martins. Talk about the fact that he was having a career run with a new sponsor, and he's had a difficult time this year, and he's trying to kind of get things going. I know Tommy himself said he didn't mind how he was addressed during the broadcast, and that's fine. That's, if he's happy, I'm happy with that. But I just think there's still something that's an issue where the broadcasters just aren't present in the moment. And I think they let these moments pass by. And yeah, they could mention it under a caution flag when they're just filling for time, like they did with Tommy Joe Martins and Brandon Brown and some of the others, and then mention it after the fact. But it's a story. You're storytellers, I really think, in play-by-play, which again goes back to my point earlier about broadcasting being very different from just a reaction video. You're not just saying, oh wow, look at that, or oh wow, look at that. You're actually you're paying attention to storylines from one race to the other, and you recognize that when something happens, it matters in a greater context. And people really, I wasn't saying like by and large, luckily these seem to be the exception, they stood out, but some people were really kind of taking that really the wrong way and saying, oh, well, maybe it should be an 8-part documentary on Tommy Joe Martins, which first of all, I think would be interesting. But, come on, I'm clearly not asking that. And I'm not saying that they weren't talking about him at all. Of course they were. But you have to do it in the moment. The Sears Point video you guys mentioned, for example, as Tommy Kendall is fighting his way back to the garage area there with a flat tire, the commentators are talking about the fact that he had a great run during that race and that he had a good performance and that he'd potentially be able to be back in the Cup Series. And these little things matter because in Tommy Kendall's case, he was in the running to replace Richard Petty at the end of the 92 season, and that probably wouldn't have happened if the broadcast hadn't played their own role in that whole thing. And the other point is if people think, okay, well, the driver was talked about, well, look on Twitter. when the wreck happened, Twitter blew up with that, and people like you and me and everybody else were pointing out, how unfortunate this was for Tommy and what a great run he was having, while the broadcasters are just kind of vamping there for a bit. And I know a lot of people, and I know Matt Weaver and some of these other guys out there are just like so excited about having Adam Alexander and Jimmy McMurray and Clint Boyer up there in the booth. It's like, oh, this was perfect. This was great. This was just talking about racing. It's like, well, they're talking about racing, but they're not talking about this race. There's a big difference there. And I think that I applaud Fox for trying something different and kind of trying to get to that point. Again, I think of seat races and crew where people are swapped in and out of boats and trying to find the right combination. I'm glad they're doing that. And I think there are some positives they can take from it. I think McMurray and Boyer seem to really play off each other really well. But the problem is when you have that, you need to have somebody firm at the wheel to kind of steady the boat. There's somebody, again, like a Bob Jenkins, or a Mike Joy or some personality like that. That's okay. These guys are kind of, talking about this and talking about that, but not losing sight of what's happening during the race and informing of us what's going on. And unfortunately, at least in this broadcast, I don't think that Adam Alexander was doing that. And again, I don't mean anything against these people personally. I'm sure they're all, they're great people and they get along. That's good to see. I mean, you don't want people fighting each other and not liking each other, but I just don't think this is the right combination. I think they need to keep trying and get something that where it needs to be. I think that's where we need to go, and hopefully we get there. And I do think, and again, I don't regret what I put in the tweet there about Tommy Joe Martins. And even if Tommy himself didn't mind it, I still think that wasn't enough. And I'm not saying it has to be the rest of the broadcast. They just don't care about what happens. They talk about Tommy the whole time. That's clearly not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is just being present in the moment and not letting a dramatic moment just go by. Think about if people didn't mention, like Ken Squire's call when Dale Earnhardt flipped in the '97 Daytona 500. I mean, he nailed that right in the moment. The 19th time it ends in without a victory and all that. So that's where I think it's really important that needs to be done. And hopefully we get there. I don't know what the secret of it is. And I don't think it's entirely on the talent's risk either, because you need to have a firm hand in the production studio as well. And, we can't blame this all on the pandemic and everything else, because we've seen this before. I mentioned this before, the Darlington thing. When we didn't see a drop-off in the quality with this many fewer people, that's a bad sign, because there should have been a drop-off, So that's kind of where I stand with that. And hopefully things get worked out there and, things turn around. But I do think that the reaction to Tommy Joe Martin's thing wasn't played to its ultimate extent. And it's disingenuous to say that this is nitpicking and picking nits and all that, when these broadcasters are bending over backwards to make something out of this Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch rivalry, if there is one. Ooh, he did the bow and it got in Kyle Busch's head, and ooh, he got wrecked. In this, got wrecked in this Darlington race, and ooh, Chase won a Truck Series race where he's not even eligible for points. I mean, okay, yeah, great. I guess that's the most interesting thing. I mean, it's going for the win and everything, but is it really the only thing that's going on? There was plenty in that Truck Series race in a 40 truck field that was going on. It was almost too much going on just to talk about at the back of the field there, but. To each their own. To each their own. I guess I just have the recessive trait that I just, I don't pay that much mind, and I guess it's a bigger thing, but, whatever. But I don't know, not to make too much of that. And yeah, I see your comment there, no tires, just gas. We're going to get into trivia. I'm not going to vamp here for too long either. But yeah, that's kind of where I would be remiss if I didn't just leave that lie there. Fuckbup, I see you there on the, thank you for the $5 super chat in there. I don't see a comment in there for me to read, but I do appreciate it. I think you're a new one here from the group here, so welcome aboard. We're going to get into the trivia pretty soon. I don't think we're going to rush here. They seem to be going out of their way to not show the track right now on the broadcast I got on the other screen here, but we'll talk about that. But Tommy Joe looks like, I'm glad people are rallying around him. We'll see what he can do there going forward. Colby Howard, the last place finish. I appreciate him reaching out on Twitter to clarify what happened in the 15 car. A lot of people thought that he missed a shift, and he said that there was a clamp that came loose and caused him to overheat. We'll touch on the Truck Series race briefly. I already kind of played my hand and my thoughts on the Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch thing. But Zane Smith, great run that night. Seemed like he was just absolutely on rails in the 21. The GMS racing team in general had a good showing. John Hunter Nemechek went back to his role of running over just about everything that is out there and in the 6th spot. And again, goes back to the incident with Jesse Iwuji was unfortunate. But again, as I also said in that one, look, everybody else got around him for the first 74 laps, and these guys couldn't get around him. I think it's unfortunate that he slid up the track, although over radio broadcast earlier in the race, he did say that he couldn't keep the truck on the bottom. He was also being flagged multiple times for not maintaining minimum speed, so I know he's not blameless in that sense. Both he and Brian Dowsett were on pit road multiple times, which is why he was several laps down as well as Dowsett. But unfortunately, they took out a couple of fast trucks, both Stuart Friesen and Brennan Poole, and even Tyler Ankrum getting in the after effects of that. It's an unfortunate deal, but the great thing with lap traffic is that everybody has to deal with it. Everybody has to find their way around it. And if you're being too much of a hazard, NASCAR has no problem pulling people off the track. We see this most often at the concrete tracks, especially Bristol at Dover. People get pulled off the track instantly for not maintaining minimum speed. They have a very limited tolerance. Do they need to reevaluate, perhaps drivers that don't hold their line as well? Well, I think that's policing things a little too closely. But if somebody's, certainly doing anything dangerous, anything that, you would do in like a video game or something, then I guess that would be drawing the line at that point. But again, NASCAR is able to handle things in that sense. But unfortunate deal for Iwuji, end up in the 39th spot there. And again, collected a couple trucks. Brennan Poole being the runner-up at Charlotte to Kyle Busch. It was unfortunate to not be able to see him actually make a challenge there at the end, and ended up in the bottom 5. Spencer Davis getting a rare last place finish for the number 11, as I mentioned in the article. Mike Hurlburt was the only other driver to finish last in the number 11 in the Truck Series, and that's back in like 1996, I believe was the last one of those that he had. So it was an interesting statistic. You can check out the article for more on that. Ross Chastain, great job driving a battered truck there up to the 11th spot. Ty Majeski bouncing back from the last place run at Daytona, and so forth. But loved the 40 truck field, loved how clean they were keeping it for much of the race, including Iwuji and the others. But it again, another controversial accident, controversy as well, not letting these guys qualify. I think the qualifying session would have been exciting to see 47 guys go for 40 spots. I certainly would have hoped that Norm Benning or Eric Jones potentially getting into the field, Jones making it more interesting at the top of the field. Dawson Cram is another guy, a kid that I thought was doing really good when he started off at Phoenix. Now he's running a new number, so maybe we'll see more of that in the future. But we're kind of getting to that point as well. Garrett Smithley switched Xfinity points? Okay. I thought he switched points again on that. I don't know. But that's a different, wasn't sure what the situation is there. Yeah, Todd Gilliland had a great show. I mean, unfortunately, he was trashed on that. But, again, there are protocols in there. And during again, I was listening to it. Iwuji and Brian Dowsett were flagged several times for not maintaining minimum speed, and apparently only have one chance to fix it. Dowsett's thing, I think he was, it seemed like he was given more chances than Iwuji, I'd say at this point. I don't like saying anything to, doing something. It's a different deal there. I don't like anything that's going to make things harder for some of these small teams out there, because especially Dowsett's, where apparently they rebuilt the truck from Daytona that caught fire and had to replace the alternator before the race, which is why they got sent to the back there. At least Rosenblum's Facebook account showed that. Again, thank you again, Beast of Metal 1989, for your $5 super chat. Leasing lines sounds like an F1 rule. I say F no to that. I would agree. Again, I'm just putting it out there because, again, what does winning look like? If people don't like what is out there, people don't like the rules that are out there, what do you like? If you want, you don't like, I mean, you're not gonna be able to get rid of slow cars or slow trucks. People scoff at that, but it's true. You could have just Hendrick and Gibbs and Penske and nobody else, and there's still going to be a slow car or a slow truck, and they may even be more of an obstacle in that case if the level of quality is like even that much higher. So that's never going to change. And even if they're all perfect, somebody's going to hit the wall and scrape the car up and get back out there, because that's too ingrained in NASCAR as well. You can't do anything that's going to be making things that much trickier there. But You know, again, much like the Ricky Stenhouse thing last week, the 47 and all the wrecks that he causes and everything, or wrecks he gets involved in, that's a tale as old as time in NASCAR. So, you know, that's just kind of the whole deal there. Alrighty. So we're going to do, I think that's about it. I'm going to leave the chat open here, of course, if you guys have any other questions, something I didn't touch on from any of the races this week, and we'll do some trivia again. We'll start back on this. I apologize. Actually, the lighting actually doesn't seem too bad in here this time. I kept things dark because it's triple digits outside. I'm keeping the lights off in here, but it's going to make it a little difficult to see here. But we're going to do the different deal here now. Thanks, Keith, there. I'm glad you're enjoying the book. Excellent, excellent. If you get a chance, when you're done, definitely leave a review on the Amazon page. That helps myself and the publisher out big time. So we'll do something on that. Next book is still on the way. Next video is on the way. I think what I'll do is I'll make that video public at the end of this live stream. So look forward to that as well. I'm going to bookmark that in the meantime. Actually, I guess I have that page already open. But we'll do some trivia here first. All right, I'm going to kind of tilt this a little bit so I see the screen a little better. All right, let's start with categories. Let's pick a category here. We did pits a lot last time. I think that one was pretty good, but we're going to open it up to the panel here again. Again, the categories, think Jeopardy here. NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Go ahead and enter in the comments which category you want me to start off with, and we'll jump into it. NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. And I will leave it open here to the panel here as everybody gets a chance to put in their votes. Just keep a glance on the TV here. We don't have anything new on that. 15 seconds is the correct answer. It might be. Should NASCAR continue diamond cutting services again, like the like litigation? I don't know about that. I mean, you might be trading one problem for the other. The 2005 Coca-Cola 600 is definitely still one of the most wild races to check out. And there you go. Yep. See, Beast of Metal, you hit it on the head. You're too fast for me. Same deal there. Take Alan Quickie for 200. Okay. Which cartoon character was on the number 7? Okay, that's not the first question, but we're going to get on there. Okay, we got one for drivers, one for pits. We got 3 for wild card. Okay, we're going to do wild card. We'll jump right into it here. Okay, here we go. What driver had, whoa, okay, this might be it. What driver had 17 career wins on the Craftsman Series through 1997? What driver had 17 career wins on the Craftsman Truck Series? It just says Craftsman Series, but I'll clarify it for those newer to the group here. What driver had 17 career wins on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series through 1997? Which driver had 17 career wins on the Craftsman Truck Series through 1997? Don't look up Racing Reference. Go ahead and make guesses. Oh, we got Matt Yoakum and guess who? Chase Elliott on the screen. All right. More hype for the hype train. Okay. What driver had 17 career wins on the Craftsman Truck Series through 1997? We got Skinner, one for Hornaday, one for Ruttman. The answer is Ron Hornaday. Hornaday, Beast of Metal, you got it, man. Skinner would have been my guess, but yeah, no, Hornaday is the correct answer. Hornaday is the, oh, goodness, I thought they were showing the track drive, and it's just the trucks from yesterday. Okay. I would love 40 truck fields every week. Man, I would be in the garage area and be able to crawl through like that many teams and like pictures and, oh man, so much fun. So much fun. We're getting there soon. We're still working on our schedule for this year, by the way, kicking around ideas for what our next race will be since Sears Point was canceled this season. Okay, here we go. What family business did Bill Elliott's father have in Cumming, Georgia? What family business did Bill Elliott's father have in Cumming, Georgia? That is your question. Is it asking for the type of business? Is it asking for the name of the business? Not sure, but hey, it's wide open on that. I don't think the answer is 15 seconds, but we're going to be close. What family business did Bill Elliott's father have in Cumming, Georgia? Okay, more Elliots. More Elliots. More Elliots. All the Elliots. All Elliott all the time. I feel like I'm in 1985. And something you probably have noticed with me, I'm really averse to hype. It's probably why I do the things that I do. Doesn't mean that they're not deserving of the hype. Doesn't mean that they're not interesting. It's just not me. Like, if Chase Elliott finishes last, it's more like, ugh, okay, well, now I got to talk about him too, because everybody else is talking about him. It's actually more entertaining when it's another team that people don't talk about. That was the whole goal with the website. But obviously, with the crash block and everything being what it is, the chances to have to do more than that. Okay. What family business did Bill Elliott's father have in Cumming, Georgia? We've got trucking company, engine shop, milling racing, restaurant, Dick Trickle. It's good. Yes, you have been practicing for this one. I see. No tires, just gas. Okay. No tires, just gas. All right. Answer. A junkyard. A junkyard is the correct answer. Another Bill Elliott question. Well, how about that? A junkyard. Also known as Hendrick Motorsports Night on Sunday. Wow. What family business did Bill Elliott's father have in Cumming, Georgia? I think Brad Keselowski owes William Byron a Christmas card, don't you think? Like old Kez was struggling at the beginning of this year with the crew chief swap. Everybody's trying to shoehorn him into somebody else's car, like taking over for Jimmy, and the sponsors potentially leaving and everything. And then he goes out and wins. Gotta love that. That's what you can't predict things like that in sport, but that's what happens. Alrighty. Okay. Next wild card question. What was the name of the 1997 TV pilot about racing that starred Lee Majors? Man, oh man. If you get this one, man, you are an OG, I'll tell you. What was the name of the 1997 TV pilot about racing that starred Lee Majors? Was Lee Majors? I can't believe Lee Majors was still alive in '97. Wasn't he like the $6 million man or $10 million man or whatever that was? Oh my gosh. What was the name of the 1997 TV pilot? The Chase Elliott interview is still going, by the way. What was the name of the 1997 TV pilot about racing that starred Lee Majors? Hey there, AJ's my daddy. Read that without thinking. Okay. That NASCAR cartoon, Baywatch, Fast Lane, Mark Martin. Okay, yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. Don't go to IMDb. You'll probably find it pretty quick. The name of the 1997 TV pilot about racing that starred Lee Majors. Do you remember the Kellys? You remember the cartoon that NASCAR.com did in 2004? And they tried to do like a flash cartoon about racing. I watched like every episode of that when I was in college because YouTube didn't exist, and that was back in the old days. That's about as much entertainment you can get if the All Your Base video wasn't doing it for you anymore. Yeah, that was not very good, but I remember it back then. What was the name of the 1997 TV pilot about racing that starred Lee Majors? The answer is coming up here. The answer is Steel Chariots. Oh, okay. Steel Chariots. I think, didn't NASCAR Man do something on that? Somebody posted that video recently and showed some old footage from that. Yeah. Steel Chariots. It actually comes up in the thing here. I don't know if you can see it with darkness. There you go. So, hey, a reference to that one. 15 seconds. Yeah, that's probably about how much anybody could stand with that movie. I didn't know Lee Majors was in it. Wow. It's like cast of thousands. Okay. Next question. Wildcard questions pulling through tonight. Let's see what we can get. I haven't had to skip any of these here. They're too easy. What early driver was called Silver Fox when his black hair prematurely grayed? Okay, well, I spoke too soon. What early driver was called Silver Fox when his black hair prematurely grayed? What early driver was called Silver Fox when his black hair prematurely grayed? And the answer, of course, is David Pearson. And 15 seconds. Happy Tree Friends. There we go. Anybody here like Homestar Runner fans? Always love those too. Let's see. David Pearson. Okay. All right. Okay, the chase interview is over. They're still not showing the track. Okay, that's not promising. We're getting up to about 15 minutes till the scheduled start of the broadcast, but we'll do a few more questions here. What was Red Byron's real first name? Here we go. Don't look this up. This is actually the question. What was Red Byron's real first name? It was not Red, apparently. Red Byron, what was his real first name? Go ahead and put the guesses in the chat. Don't look it up. Go ahead and put those guesses in. Red Byron's real first name. I actually buzzed through the news of the races pretty quick. We're only 30 minutes into this. Okay. Thought I was talking for a lot longer on all that. Okay. Red Byron's real first name. Kurt Busch? No, probably not. Like Robert, William, Robert, Lewis. Other guesses here. It is still pretty warm. I got the AC cranked up in here, and it is not pulling yet, but we're getting there. All right. Okay. What was Red Byron's real first name? Blue. Oh, that would be great. I like that's almost the winning answer right there. John. Okay, here we go. And the answer is Robert. Robert, Sir Eccleston. Oh, Beast of Metal, you edged Sir R there. There we go. Beast of Metal, you got it there, man. Sir R, Will Stott. Xfinity race at Bristol will be moved to Monday if this is delayed. Okay, that actually works for me. I work from tonight through Sunday, so if they push the Saturday race to Sunday, that at least works for me. I know that doesn't work for most people. So if they still run Saturday, I'm okay with that, but I'm gonna have to pull through here. Hope you guys are enjoying the frequent updates on the website too. I'm thinking of keeping that the same once we get back to well, relative normalcy, which could be anywhere from a couple weeks to a month or so from now, and probably posting the articles as close to the finish of the races as possible, of course, pending inspection. So we'll get more of those. Hey there, kids. Welcome aboard. We got 17 people in here. Right on. Thanks again for joining up, everybody. All righty. Next wild card question. Who did Jeff Gordon place a call to from Daytona's Victory Lane in 1997? Needs to be out so they can start by 10 or 10:30 within the half an hour. Okay. Well, I mean, it's gonna be iffy. I can do that. I gotta leave for work at about 11 Pacific time, so I'm pretty wide open until then. It's gonna be tricky from there. I'll have to listen to it on the radio otherwise. Okay. Who did Jeff Gordon place a call to from Daytona's Victory Lane in 1997? You guys got it. Rick Hendrick, indeed. Rick Hendrick. Ah, here we go. Now, this is, again, keep in mind, this is the late 90s for those new to the game. What NASCAR Winston Cup race director also works full-time as a UPS driver? What NASCAR Winston Cup race director also works full-time as a UPS driver? I know I'm leaning back a lot in the seat, but oh, and the track is wet. And there's still raindrops on the camera. Okay. And yeah, it's still coming down. Okay. They got the shelter in place advisory on the monitor. That's also not good. But that happened to Darlington, and they still got it in, even though it was very late at night. What NASCAR Winston Cup race director also works full-time as a UPS driver? And the answer is David Hoots. Noah Wilmer, you got it, man. David Hoots. It is not the amazing David Reagan. Not this time. Not this time, Clark. Nor is it the bright yellow fellow Paul Menard. Nor is it Concrete Carl Edwards. It's black. It's quack. It quacks. It's sponsored by Aflac, the 99 of Concrete Carl Edwards. And it is raining more. Okay. It is still raining. Back into the studio. Okay. Well, okay. Well, we'll find out. We're gonna hang in there. We're definitely not gonna do the live stream this long towards the start of it, because it looks like it's gonna be at least a good hour, couple hours, even if it stops now, like the Pocris tweet mentioned there too. But it's gonna be iffy. Southeast getting plenty of rain. I'll tell you what. If they had Sears Point up here, it'd be pretty easy to do, although you'd have the exact opposite problem with the heat. So that would be the situation. Okay, next wild card question. What's the name of the 50-lap race for teams not eligible for the Winston race? What is the name of the 50-lap race for teams not eligible for the Winston race? Getting a few easy ones here, too. The race will be postponed until 7 tomorrow. Has that been confirmed already? Not seeing it on the crawl. It's certainly possible. More than possible at this point. And we're on to Alex Bowman. What's the name of the 50-lap race for teams not eligible for the Winston race? And the answer is indeed the Winston Open. Winston Open. You guys all got that. You were jumping on that. AJ, you got that right from the start. I know, AJ, you're probably happy that he's coming back this weekend in the Xfinity Series at Bristol. That's pretty exciting. That reminds me, it's another thing I got to work on. If this gets called, I'll have to crunch out the entry list storylines for Bristol this weekend and get that set up. But we'll see what things we'll see how things look like. Alrighty. What? Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. What racing series did Jeff Bodine drive just before Stock Cars? What racing series did Jeff Bodine drive just before Stock Cars? Is your next question. Alrighty. What racing series did Jeff Bodine drive just before Stock Cars? Is the next question. The racing series Jeff Bodine drove just before Stock Cars. By the way, for the those of you, the two of you that won the scripts in our lightning round questions for our last show, I just mailed those out today, so you should be getting those within the next week or so. So heads up on that. Just got that dropped off in the mail. Okay, and the answer is modifieds. Indeed, modifieds. AG got that. Okay. Alrighty. Here we go. What driver is married to an accomplished race car driver named Robin? What driver is married to an accomplished race car driver named Robin? Here we go. Late 90s question here. Potentially is a race today if the rain stops, and so far it is not. It is storming pretty thoroughly in Charlotte because of Tropical Storm Bertha. We're in a holding pattern, very much so. If they do get it going, it's going to be quite late tonight. It looks like, at least in the next couple of hours. But they may fight to squeeze this thing in because the race is shorter and they're trying to get to Bristol, so you never know. What driver is married to an accomplished race car driver named Robin? The other guess is Dick Trickle, Elton Sawyer. Channel FS1. FS1 at the moment. They've got NASCAR Race Hub is on there right now with an interview with Alex Bowman. So they just showed a glimpse of the track really briefly about 10 minutes ago, and it was thoroughly soaked. But if they do get it in, yes, we're going to have a race tonight. And if not tonight, probably tomorrow night. So look forward to that. All righty. What driver is married to an accomplished race car driver named Robin? This is actually interesting. I don't know. It sounded like it was going to be the Elton Sawyer question, but he's married to Shauna Robinson, isn't it? Or not Shauna Robinson. Patty Moise, isn't that? So, okay. Race is at noon tomorrow if postponed. I heard 7 o'clock. Did that change already? Okay. Here we go. The answer is Wally Dallenbach. Wally Dallenbach. Ken Schuler technically got it there. You got Wally. Of course, he's named race car driver, so yeah, pretty much Wally is pretty much. I guess, is there any other famous Wally from recent NASCAR history? Probably not. Wally Dallenbach, yeah. Beyonce, Carl Lunderstadt. It's tomorrow at 7. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, 7 would work better for me too. Again, not to make it all about that, but I gotta. This has certainly been a challenging week scheduling all this, but we've been bearing with it here. I'm glad I didn't try to do a live stream each night. I think I would have Been much more tired otherwise. Okay. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. Here's a question about the last American hero. What animals is Junior Johnson most passionate about hunting? What animals is Junior Johnson most passionate about hunting? What animals? Hey there, Brendan. We do rules? I mean, like pits? Maybe we'll do that. We can do that one. We'll do that in the next question. What animals is Junior Johnson most passionate about hunting? Elk, monkey, rabbits, deer, bear, raccoons, Kyle Busch. These are all good. These are all good guesses. Oh gosh, Vince Welch is staring into my soul. Okay. I am talking to you right now. Like, oh my gosh, it's turn the monitor. Okay. Alrighty. What animals is Junior Johnson most passionate about hunting? 15 seconds. Could be that. What animals is Junior Johnson most passionate about hunting? The answer is raccoons. Did anybody get that? I don't know if anybody got that. Raccoons. Tiger, elk, monkey, deer, bear. Oh, no, Maserati 9. You got it. There you go. Rainbow Stott? No, not quite. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Raccoons. That is indeed the answer. Okay. What year did Daytona USA open its doors to the public? We'll do the pits one next. I'm sorry, we're going to change categories. I got distracted. What year did Daytona USA open its doors to the public? What year? Okay, for a year that Daytona USA. No, don't answer the question. Daytona USA opened its doors to the public. No new updates from Luck or Bob. Okay. Yeah, Brian Newhoff is really reliable with the weather. If Bob and Jeff don't know, then definitely get it from the source there on the weather guy. Newhoff is pretty reliable. When did it open? 96, 2075, 1998. All right. And the answer is 1996. Earnhardt Fan Productions. You got it. Yeah, it's tricky. You think it's talking about the track, but it is talking about the attraction where they park the winner of the Daytona 500. By saying Daytona USA. All right, we're going to go to pits to get that, and we'll do some more of the rules. We turn the screen back here. Okay, yeah, the museum. Yeah, it was tricky. See, again, that's what makes it the wild card. Okay. All righty, here we go. Okay, no, that was too easy. Okay. What's the rubber puncture and fire-resistant bladder for holding gas called? Okay, I didn't read the whole question. What is the rubber puncture and fire-resistant bladder for holding gas called? Alrighty, the answer is Terry Link. No, it is not, but it's close. What's the rubber puncture and fire-resistant bladder for holding gas called? Cole Custer? No, not quite. I am sorry, that is incorrect. The fuel cell, the rubber fuel cell. Okay, they're saying tomorrow at 4. Tomorrow at 7 Eastern. Still not seeing on the caption. You might be ahead of me. I'm still getting ads for the Masters. Okay. And the answer is indeed the fuel cell. You guys got it. Wow. Beast of Metal, thanks again for another super chat here. $5. Goodness, not sure if I could read that, but Vince Welch still has nothing on the googly-eyed visage of Adam Gase, a.k.a. Hairless Gritty, a.k.a. Jets coach, Nick Cage, a.k.a. Adam's Gaze. Okay, well, that's I'm going to have to I'm not sure, but I'm sure if it popped up on the screen, I would probably know the answer. Okay. All right. Next question. What duo was known as the Henry Fords of stock car racing in the 60s? What duo was known as the Henry Fords of stock car racing in the 60s? is your next question. Okay. What duo was known as the Henry Fords of stock car racing in the 1960s? What duo, what couple of people, what number of people were known as the Henry Fords of stock car racing in the 60s? Don't look it up. There we go. Henry Ford Sr. and Jr., Gasaway brothers, Gasaway and Big Bill, Danica Patrick and Ricky Stenhouse, Holman Moody. No idea. Seems like a Wood Brothers question to me, but let's see. The answer is Holman and Moody. Holman and Moody. There you go. Hot Maserati 9 got it again. There we go. Maserati 9, if I was on the Millionaire Show, I'd have to have you as the phone-a-friend, it seems. You seem to be right on the ball here. Okay. Okay. How did pit crews communicate with drivers before the days of radio headsets? How did pit crews communicate with drivers before the days of radio headsets? As we watch Denny Hamlin dump out a couple pieces of tungsten onto the track. How did pit crews communicate with drivers before the days of radio headsets? Now, look at that. Denny Hamlin had that issue at the start, ran his fastest lap on lap 351, at which point he was like 8 laps down. No, never can give up. All right, and the answer is indeed pit boards. You guys got it, pit boards. So we got a harder one here. Okay. What's a typical left side tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway? What is the typical left side tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway as of the late 90s? What is a typical left side tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway? Let me check this here in the meantime. All right, typical left side tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway. More. Okay. All righty. Whoop. Okay, looks like we might have a status update here. And the answer is 45 pounds. 45 pounds. 45. They're carrying umbrellas indoors. That is not good luck. And that is also not a good sign. 45 pounds is the answer. You got Thursday night racing? The body language is not promising. Okay. 45 pounds is the answer. We're going to have racing tomorrow, it sounds like. Okie dokie. Which means we're going to have Bristol's Busch race, Xfinity race on Monday. All right. Doggone it. Well, I was pretty much ready for one tonight, but maybe for the best, it's good to take a breather. Okay, everybody's talking with their hands. So what I'm going to do in the meantime here. Nope, nope, not that. Edit. Well, yeah, when Jeff Gordon kind of looks at a loss, that's usually not a promising sign. So yes, it looks like. Okay, it still says just delayed due to weather. It's not. Have they actually said that they're going to do it tomorrow, or is that? I'm going to check Twitter. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, yeah, NASCAR's, yeah, okay, NASCAR's thing says, yeah, postponed until tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay. All righty. So, okay, yeah, so set to till tomorrow. Okay. Well, yeah, it's pouring. Okay, that shot right there is pretty much not promising. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Alrighty. And where's the link? And where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Bear with me, guys. Oh, hang on. He's got to move this. Take that and click that. And okay. So, alrighty. Okay. Whoop. Hang on. Let's get that straightened out. All right. We're gonna do one more question for the night, and then we're going to release the trailer for my next video, and we'll just fill the night with that in the meantime. Very short trailer, so not too much, but I think you'll like the video here. In the meantime, last question for the night. Here we go. What's a typical right rear tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway? Typical right rear tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway. We did 45 for the left, and now we're looking at a right rear. A right rear. Hang on, wrong question. There we go. Typical right rear tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway. Any other guesses on there for the tire pressure on a right rear for a Cup car in the late 90s on a super speedway? Several qualifiers there. First guess we have is 40 pounds. Any other guesses on there? Okay, as we have the 600 starting up again. 40 pounds, 40, okay. Kevin Harvick, Fish, 45. Any other guesses on here? Typical right rear tire pressure for a Winston Cup car on a super speedway. Last question of the night. And the answer is 50 pounds, 50. Joey Sharp, right under the gun, got it. Joey Sharp, 50. 50 is indeed the answer. 50 is the answer. 50 pounds in the right rear. So, okay, before I let you guys go, here is the link to the video, and make sure it's the correct link so I don't drop you the link to something else. New video trailer dropping. Just sent it to the public. So there it is. And you guys enjoy that. That's tentative release date's going to be next Friday. Look forward again to that. Again, stay tuned for more content here on the channel. We're going to get the article done tomorrow for the race. We're probably not going to do a live stream that night, but we'll do a live stream along the way that we can do. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Weather through the rain, and see what happens tomorrow in Charlotte. In the meantime, you guys stay safe out there, and thank you again for your support.